Hello and welcome to the Learning Reading Hub. If you're looking for a program to teach your child to read, you may have bumped into these two very popular reading programs, All About Reading and Logic of English. While both programs use synthetic phonics principles and the Orton-Gillingham approach for teaching reading, they also present substantial differences in their approach. So, if you want to understand the key differences between these two reading programs in order to work out which one is going to be more suitable for your child or children, then this video is for you. You can also download the notes from the video down below on the video description. Finally, I also wanted to let you know that this video is a fragment of a longer video on the channel about these two Learn to Read programs and other Learn to Read programs. If interested, I also leave you a link on the video description. And now, without further ado, let's get started. In the second place, I'm going to be talking about All About Reading. You have probably heard of this program before. It is very renowned and for good reason. This program is great if you're after a multisensory program. That is actually fantastic for so many children that actually learn through manipulation and kinetic experiences. All About Reading follows the Orton-Gillingham approach. Okay, big words, but what does this mean? Well, if you have a child with dyslexia or suspect you have one, then it is likely that you may have heard of this approach before. The main idea behind the Orton-Gillingham approach is to take the three pathways to the brain for a more holistic learning experience. The first pathway is the multisensory approach to teaching reading. By doing this, we are encouraging the left side and the right side of the brain to work together, creating stronger connections. The second pathway is the auditory one. The Orton-Gillingham approach is therefore phonics-based and goes all the way down to the phoneme level. This program places a lot of importance on the development of phonemic awareness. And finally, the third pathway to the brain is the visual pathway. By the way, don't think that the visual pathway means that your child will be encouraged to look at pictures or guess words or learn with strategies such as word shapes. That is the opposite to their learning style. What it means is that your child will play games with flashcards, as flashcards are an important element of the curriculum. But I repeat, the objective of the flashcards is not to visually memorize the words, but to actually engage with them, as I said. Also, don't think that because this program follows the Orton-Gillingham approach, is only good for children with dyslexia. Any child can do great with this program. There are just so many kids that love and benefit from a multisensory approach. The program is lightly scripted. This means that it leaves you certain room for flexibility, but at the same time, it also gives you a script to follow. So there is not much preparation required. You can be sure that you won't forget or leave anything important out, but at the same time, you can adjust the lesson a little bit to your child. How long does it take? Well, the recommendation from All About Reading is to keep the lesson to up to 20 minutes a day, regardless of whether you have finished the lesson or not. If the lesson took 3 days to complete, it is okay. It took 3 days. Otherwise, lessons over 20 minutes they consider might be too much for the child. However, they also encourage you to read their books for 20 minutes a day. By the way, books and stories are included in the program. They are phonetically decodable and in line with the reading level that your child is every step of the way. The program also has what they call a no gaps approach. This means that they don't leave concepts unexplained or in the air. The curriculum doesn't assume that children will just figure things out by themselves. Again, this is something that I really value and I think is fantastic for any kid learning to read. English is complicated. The spelling system is really one of the most complex there are out there. Besides, there are many sounds, especially vowel sounds. For instance, 14 sounds for vowels as opposed to, for instance, 5 in Spanish. The sounds are represented in different ways. leaving things a chance and assume that children will just get this complex system all by themselves is too much to hope for, I think. And while it is true that some children might get it without receiving an explicit instruction, many won't. And what happens as well in many cases when children are not taught explicitly and you leave gaps is that those children that apparently got it all by themselves, well, in reality, they didn't. They have just learned to cope with other strategies such as memory or guessing to cover up for the gaps in the system. Reading English and English spelling is not straightforward. It doesn't mean it doesn't make sense, but it's just not very straightforward. If we were comparing it to a sport, it would be a complicated sport to figure out, such as cricket. Many rules, difficult to follow and understand. You would probably need to be explained all the rules of the game in a systematic manner, starting with the simpler ones, so you can eventually follow the game and know what is going on. Spanish could be something like soccer, less rules, more simple rules, more straightforward, okay? You can probably get away and understand soccer with less explanations. Okay, let's continue. This program is also very sequential and logical in the order that it introduces concepts. Again, this goes very much in line with what I said before. The concepts are introduced in an incremental way. And another thing that I really like is that there are many opportunities to review previous concepts to make sure that your child has fully mastered what he or she's learned before he or she moves on. This is really important in my opinion because sometimes we explain something once and we see that our children get it, so we think, great, they've mastered it, and then, oh no, you realize they have forgotten all about it. Another big thing worth mentioning is that this program tackles reading and spelling separately, so your child can advance faster with reading, but you have to buy two different programs. They also do that because they go deep into spelling rules. Again, they want to embrace the no gaps approach. I think that being explicitly told spelling rules, as I said, is great, a very good idea, because as we've seen before, spelling is not straightforward. They have 5 reading levels. You're probably wondering, how do I know which level is best for my child? You can do a placement test from their site, and I will make sure to include a link to the placement test on the video description and also on the download my notes document. You can also claim a free sample of the program, including 2 lessons, so you can check before buying what you're signing up for. I am not going to lie, this program can get expensive. I won't go into specific prices here because again, I am not sure when you're going to be watching this video and prices change all the time. But I'd imagine it will continue to be on the pricey spectrum for learning to read programs, because also you have to buy many levels in order to complete the entire program. Also, this program never goes on sale or offer coupon prices or anything of the kind. And if you find these coupons on the internet, the All About Reading website clearly states that they are not real, that they are not going to be valid. On the other hand, they give you 1 full year to try the All About Reading and All About Spelling program. If the program that you bought doesn't meet your expectations, you can return the program in whatever use condition it might be and get a full refund. That says a lot, in my opinion, about the trust that they have in their product and about the company itself. The only caveat here, and take note because this is very important, this only applies to purchases made directly from their official site. So if you want to avail of this return policy, make sure that you use the official website when you're purchasing this product. Again, don't worry because I will leave you the link to their official website on the video description and on the download my notes document. By the way, when you purchase All About Reading, you also get access to their app, which is an additional tool for your child to practice. This program is a great alternative and a very popular one if you're looking to homeschool your child. The main con here is the price. As we've seen before, it can get expensive. On the other hand, as I explained as well, you have that amazing 1-year money-back guarantee if you buy from their website. Also, I wanted to mention that it is hands-on for the parent. You need to support your child. You are his or her teacher. You need to be there to guide your child all the way through. The third program on the list is Logic of English. This is another Orton-Gillingham reading curriculum. That means that could be a very good fit for you again if you have a dyslexic child or you suspect you might have one, or for any struggling reader, but it could be good in general for any kid, especially if they thrive on and learn better with multisensory experiences. Again, this program was created by a mom with a dyslexic child. Since I already explained a lot about the Orton-Gillingham approach when talking about all about reading, I am not going to extend very much on this. What I thought would be a good idea is to actually go through the main differences between Logic of English and all about reading. So let's start. What I think that sets this program apart is that it takes the no gaps approach to the next level, really. It goes very deep into the logic of English and why things are spelled and read in the way they are. So if you have a child that really wants to understand everything and doesn't take the "oh, this is an exception" phrase for an answer, I recommend it. So in line with this program introduces all the sounds that letters make at the same time. You're not gonna be teaching your child, this is the letter A and it makes the A sound, as in cat, pat, mat. You are going to introduce all the letter sounds at the same time. So this is the letter A and it makes the A sound, the A sound, and the sound. To be honest, as a side note, there are up to 7 different sounds that the letter A can make, but those 3 are definitely the ones that your child has to learn because they cover almost 100% of the English words with an A. You may think, oh gosh, this is overwhelming, but in a way, when you think about it, it makes sense. This way they don't get all confused when you suddenly say to them, you know what? The letter A that I have been insisting makes the A sound. It turns out it can also say its name, A, and actually it can also do this other sound, This way you introduce these other sounds as rules, not as exceptions, and suddenly words such as about, which has a schwa sound at the beginning, or the word the, with a schwa sound for the letter E, are not exceptions anymore. I must admit that this is not the way I personally have taught my older child. For instance, with the letter A, I started with the short sound A, and then I explained about how it can say its name sometimes, and she knows there is this strange sound that happens in words, so she knows the letter A can make all of these other sounds. But I wonder, would it have been better and easier for her if I just introduced all of the sounds at the same time? I don't know. I am really not doing that with my younger child either. She is on the phonemic awareness stage at the moment, really, but I wonder if I should. Anyway, food for thought for me. Enough of my rambling. Another difference is that on this reading program there are more games and sort of fun activities than in all about reading. So if you thought that you were going for a program that is all about studying English rules and that it was going to be very boring, well, not really. Remember, it is still a multisensory approach. You do teach the rules, but using lots of interactive games. Another big difference is that the program tackles reading, writing, and spelling all at the same time. When buying this program, you're going to have to make a choice between buying cursive or manuscript for writing. This really caught my attention. If you don't know the difference between cursive and manuscript, cursive is something like this, and manuscript is something like this. Cursive does not only take out of the picture certain problems such as beginners reading struggle with B and D reversal, because B in cursive is something like this and D in cursive is something like this. So it is not confusing anymore. But apart from that, and also being beautiful, it is also becoming apparent in the scientific world that learning through cursive can be extremely beneficial for the cognitive development of children. It does to your mind sort of the same benefits that learning to play an instrument. This is new to me, by the way. And maybe this is something that you want to dig into as well before deciding whether to buy manuscript or cursive, should you decide to actually go for the Logic of English program. I will make sure to include links on the Download My Notes document in case you're interested. They have 3 levels, A, B, 3, and on their site you can do a quick test to see which one they recommend. Regarding the price, again, on the pricey spectrum. But again, this is a good quality program. Might seem a little bit more expensive than All About Reading, but since they include spelling and writing instruction on the same program, when you work things out, prices are pretty similar. Do not want to give you final prices here because again, I don't know when you're going to be watching this video. So I leave you a link to their website on the video description and of course on the Download My Notes document. Regarding their return policy, they offer a 90-day money-back guarantee.